Welcome to Liberty Voice USA, where we cut through the noise of partisan spin and manufactured outrage to deliver the unfiltered truth about the political battles shaping our democracy. In a world drowning in echo chambers and viral illusions, our mission is simple. Arm you with facts, expose the manipulations that erode trust, and remind us all that real accountability starts with clear eyes and steady voices. Today we're diving into a story that's electrified social media feeds from coast to coast, a supposed explosive confrontation in the heart of American justice where Representative Jasmine Crockett, the fearless voice from Texas, allegedly laid bare hidden truths only for Chief Justice Roberts to clamp down in a desperate bid to silence her. You've seen the clips, the headlines screaming betrayal in the Supreme Court chambers, the comment sections ablaze with calls for revolution. But as we peel back the layers of this digital wildfire, what emerges isn't heroism in a courtroom showdown, but a stark reminder of how deception preys on our hunger for justice, twisting real fractures in our institutions into fabricated spectacles that distract us from the genuine fights worth waging. Picture this, a dimly lit Supreme Court chamber, the air thick with tension, marble walls echoing the weight of history. In the viral videos circulating like contraband across YouTube, TikTok, and X, Representative Crockett strides forward, her posture unyielding, microphone in hand, unleashing a torrent of revelations about corruption festering at the highest levels of the judiciary. She accuses the bench of shielding billion-dollar donors, of rulings that favor the elite while the average American scrapes by under the boot of inequality. The camera, impossibly present in a court that bans all electronics, zooms in as Chief Justice Roberts, his face a mask of controlled fury, pounds his gavel and demands order, his voice cutting through like a verdict. Enough. This chamber is no place for congressional theatrics. Crockett doesn't flinch. She fires back with a line that's been memed into oblivion. Truth doesn't need permission, Your Honor. It demands it. The room erupts, or so the edit suggests, with gasps from clerks and murmurs from justices, before Roberts allegedly slaps her with a staggering $200,000 fine for contempt, storming off in a huff that leaves the nation gasping. It's cinematic, it's cathartic, it's the kind of moment that makes you fist pump in your living room, convinced that one bold woman just cracked the facade of power wide open. Views skyrocket into the millions, shares flood timelines with captions like, "Finally, someone said it," and "The system is rigged, wake up." But here's where the script flips, not in drama, but in quiet, unrelenting fact. This entire scene never happened. It's a meticulously crafted illusion, born not from hidden tapes or leaked transcripts, but from the cold algorithms of AI-generated fiction, designed to inflame divisions and harvest clicks at the expense of our shared reality.
Let's walk through the evidence, because in the fog of viral frenzy, facts are our only compass. No reputable news outlet, from the New York Times to Fox News, from CNN to the Wall Street Journal, has reported a single word of this alleged showdown. Searches across global databases turn up empty. No docket entries in the Supreme Court's records. No press releases from Crockett's office. No whispers from Capitol Hill insiders who thrive on such leaks. The videos themselves betray their origins upon closer inspection. Take the one from Insider Intel, racking up over 110,000 views in days. It includes a buried disclaimer in the description. Fine print admitting the content is fictional and synthetic. A nod to AI tools that stitch together deep fake faces, fabricated audio, and scripted drama. Another from Ripple of Good clocks 75,000 views, peddling the same narrative with slight variations. Crockett fined for reckless argument in an ethics dispute that supposedly dragged a House member into oral arguments. But that's legally absurd. Members of Congress don't argue cases before the Supreme Court. That's the domain of specialized advocates, not elected representatives juggling districts back home. And the setting? The court's strict no devices policy ensures no smartphones or cameras breach those hallowed halls, making the live TV angle as plausible as a unicorn in the rose garden.
These aren't oversights, they're deliberate fabrications, pumped out by channels chasing ad revenue in the shadows of YouTube's lax moderation, then amplified across platforms where outrage travels faster than verification. Why does this matter? Because in the arena of American politics, where trust in institutions hangs by a thread, these deepfakes aren't harmless entertainment. They're weapons in an information war that silences real voices by drowning them in noise. Consider the timing. This hoax erupted just as Congress ramps up scrutiny on judicial ethics, with bipartisan calls growing louder for reforms that Chief Justice Roberts has long resisted. Remember the real scandals that have shadowed the court in recent years. The undisclosed luxury trips funded by billionaire Harlan Crow for Justice Thomas Clarence. The upside-down flags flown at Justice Samuel Alito's homes, signaling sympathy for January 6th rhetoric. The stock trades by justices that blur the line between personal gain and public duty. Roberts, as the administrative head of the federal judiciary, has acknowledged these issues in his annual reports, decrying illegitimate activity that undermines public confidence, yet his responses stop short of enforceable codes. In his 2023 year-end summary, he lamented defiance of court orders, but sidestepped the elephant in the chamber, a binding ethics framework for the Supreme Court itself. Something Democrats like Senator Sheldon Whitehouse have pushed for since 2022, only to face Republican stonewalling. Fast forward to 2025, and the pressure mounts. Senate Judiciary Republicans like Chuck Grassley and Jim Jordan penned a letter just this week urging Roberts to address federal judges' possible ethics violations, citing, quote, unruly lower courts that echo the very critiques lobbed at the Supremes. Into this powder keg drops the Crockett-Roberts myth, a tailor-made distraction that lets viewers vent fury at a phantom injustice rather than demand accountability from the actual power brokers.
And let's not lose sight of Jasmine Crockett herself, a figure whose real-life tenacity makes the fake heroisms pale in comparison. Elected in 2022 as a freshman Democrat from Texas's 30th District, Crockett arrived in Washington not as a polished insider, but as a civil rights attorney and state legislator who'd already stared down gerrymandered maps and voter suppression tactics. Her district, a vibrant mosaic of Dallas communities long targeted by redistricting schemes, knows her as the fighter who joined that 2021 exodus of Texas Democrats to Washington, D.C., holding up in a hotel to block a special session aimed at gutting voting rights. It was a raw act of defiance, echoing the civil rights marches of old, and it earned her national headlines before she even unpacked in Congress. But it's her committee room clashes that have turned her into a viral force. Moments where she wields words like a scalpel, exposing hypocrisy without raising her voice above a measured cadence. Take her legendary exchange with Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene during a May 2024 House Oversight Committee hearing on contempt charges against Hunter Biden. As Greene needled Crockett about her district's supposed failing schools in crime rates, classic deflection from the topic at hand, Crockett leaned into the mic with that signature blend of poise and precision. I'm just curious, just to better understand your level of education and familiarity with this topic, did you read it? The room froze, then erupted in laughter that Greene could only sputter through. But Crockett wasn't done. When Greene fired back with a barb about Crockett's appearance, the Texan delivered the line that broke the internet. I'm talking about my bleach-blonde, bad-built, butch body. It wasn't pettiness. It was a mirror held up to the ugliness of ad hominem attacks, a reminder that women of color in these halls endure scrutiny no man would dream of, all while steering the conversation back to facts on the ground. That moment, viewed millions of times, captured Crockett's essence, unapologetic, intellectually armored, and deeply rooted in the struggles of those she serves. She's channeled that fire into other arenas, like her February 2025 takedown of Elon Musk during a House Judiciary hearing on censorship and misinformation. As witnesses droned on about big tech bias, Crockett pivoted to the elephant in the code, the billionaire's X platform, once Twitter, now a megaphone for unchecked conspiracies that fueled the 2024 election's chaos. "Mr. Musk talks a big game about free speech," she paraphrased from his own posts. "But when it comes to amplifying lies that suppress votes in black communities like mine, where do we draw the line between platform and propagandist?" Her questions weren't rants. They were surgical, citing data from the Brennan Center on how algorithmic tweaks correlated with a 15% dip in voter engagement among minorities in swing states. Republicans shifted uncomfortably, their defenses of Musk crumbling under the weight of her receipts, screenshots, studies, timelines that painted a picture of selective liberty, where free speech means everything for the powerful and nothing for the marginalized. It's this pattern. Crockett doesn't just call out the lie, she dismantles the machinery behind it that makes her a threat to the status quo, and why fabricating a Supreme Court epic around her feels like a twisted compliment from those who'd rather mythologize than confront.
Contrast that authenticity with the Roberts myth's sleight of hand. The Chief Justice, appointed by George W. Bush in 2005, has steered the court through 2 decades of seismic shifts, authoring opinions that overturned Roe v. Wade in 2022's Dobbs decision and curtailed affirmative action in 2023's Students for Fair Admissions case. Supporters hail his institutionalist bent, a bid to preserve the court's legitimacy amid polarization. Critics see a slow rightward drift, from Citizens United's unleashing of dark money to the 2024 rulings shielding presidential immunity that Democrats warn could greenlight executive overreach. Roberts' own words in a 2019 testimony, "We don't work for anybody," ring hollow against the ethics fog, where his reluctance to impose recusals or disclosures has invited accusations of complicity. A 2025 Reuters analysis marked his 20-year tenure with a dramatic rightward turn, noting how once moderate swings like the 2012 Obamacare upholding gave way to a bloc that prioritizes originalism over evolving equity. Yet, in the fake video, Roberts becomes a cartoon villain, gavel-swinging tyrant, silencing a truth-teller, when the real story is subtler, a guardian of procedure, who, by defending the indefensible, erodes the very authority he claims to uphold. This fabrication doesn't empower Crockett, it cheapens her, reducing a congresswoman battling for voting rights and economic justice to a scripted avenger in a courtroom farce. And in doing so, it feeds the cynicism that tells us all fights are futile, all heroes are holograms.
The danger here runs deeper, threading into the fabric of our democracy's fraying edges. AI deepfakes aren't new. Remember the 2024 election cycle's fake Biden robocalls urging Democrats to skip primaries, or the manipulated clips of Kamala Harris that swung undecided voters in key states? But their proliferation in 2025, with tools like Grok's own kin making fabrication as easy as a prompt, has turned every smartphone into a potential forgery factory. Platforms like YouTube, under pressure from advertisers fleeing toxic content, have ramped up labels and takedowns, but the cat's out of the bag. A Pew Research study from March 2025 found 62% of Americans have shared a video without verifying its source, with trust in video evidence plummeting to 41% among under 30s. Politically, it's a goldmine for bad actors. Russian-linked accounts boosted the Crockett hoax within hours of its upload, per cybersecurity firm Graphica's tracking, layering it into narratives that paint the judiciary as a liberal witch hunt.
On the flip side, Crockett's real moments, like her August 2025 grilling of FBI officials over Texas redistricting probes, get buried under the buzz. There, she didn't need a gavel drama. She cited declassified memos showing how partisan maps diluted black votes by 12% in her district, forcing admissions that echoed her 2021 stand. "This isn't about one case," she said calmly. "It's about ensuring every voice in America counts equally, or admitting we don't believe in that anymore." That restraint, that evidence-driven punch, is the true exposure, not spectacle, but substance.
So where does this leave us? In a moment of reckoning, where the line between truth and trickery blurs daily, but our tools to reclaim it sharpen with every debunked myth. Representative Crockett embodies that resilience, not as a lone warrior in a fabricated arena, but as a congresswoman stacking bills like the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, co-sponsoring measures to cap Supreme Court terms at 18 years for fresh perspectives, and testifying before Senate panels on how misinformation rigs the game against communities like hers. Chief Justice Roberts, for his part, could tip the scales towards transparency with a simple stroke, endorsing the Supreme Court Ethics, Recusal, and Transparency Act, stalled in committee since 2023, which would mandate disclosures and public reasoning for recusals. It's not glamorous, but it's governance. Steady, unglamorous work that rebuilds faith brick by incremental brick. And us? We tune out the fakes by tuning in to the facts. Cross-check sources, demand better from platforms, support lawmakers who fight with data over drama. Because democracy isn't saved in viral bursts, it's sustained in the quiet insistence that truth, however inconvenient, always outlasts the spin. As we wrap this unmasking of shadows, remember, the real exposures happen not in scripted silences, but in the unyielding pursuit of what's verifiable, what's vital, what's ours to protect. Stay tuned, stay aware, and stay truthful. This is Liberty Voice USA, where facts speak louder than politics.